at one point in time, I was working overnight. And like my wife had just had my son. She was working in the days, I was working at night. I get off like 3, 4 in the morning and be home. And then we had to switch off with my son. Mm-hmm. We over here switching off. And then at one point in time, it was like, okay, we kept switching off. And I wasn't getting sleep. I wasn't getting certain things because of the hours I worked and the hours she worked. So now, at one point in time, I blew up at my wife and my son because I'm like, I need time. I need this time because if I don't have this time, I'm gonna go crazy.
Right.
So the idea is you have to have time to recharge, to take care of your family, and to work.
Welcome to another episode of Something for the People. This is your boy B Hunt, aka the Silent Prophet, along with my co-host Big Country.
What's good, people?
Top notch. We're gonna jump right into it. Shooting the breeze topic, is there anything you would like your spouse to change? So when I was asking this question, I was thinking to myself, well, how can you in a relationship make something better? Right? So one, I'm on a whole initiative here. Like you have to have a want to do something for me. And my wife, when she moves and how she operates, it's not necessarily on a want basis. It's like she's a aftermath type person. Mm-hmm. Like damage done, do repair.
Okay.
I come from a more preventative maintenance type background. It's like I can see myself and I can be great at something.
Yeah.
But instead of just being great, I'm like, okay, how can I improve on this? How can I make this better? How can I push the envelope? How can I anticipate customers' demands or my spouse's demands and deliver on those before I get the customer complaint?
Okay.
And that's how I like to move. But on the flip side of that, my wife isn't like that. She'll be like, oh, well, you never said that was a problem, so I assumed that everything was good. Mm-hmm. And I be trying to navigate that space and trying to figure out like, well, because as a man, it's a very difficult mindset to put yourself in, like someone else's thought processes and thought patterns, especially when they don't mirror your own or they're so foreign to your thought process. Like it's foreign to me. Mm-hmm. I've always been taught, jump on it before it gets out of hand.
Well, I mean, but I think for most men, that's what you're taught because if I could fix something before it happens, hey, I don't have to deal with the outcome because it's already fixed.
Right.
Now, if I have to wait till after something happened, now I got to catch up, fix what was wrong, and then try to prevent and explain why this can't happen.
Right.
So it's like it would be easier me just working on it in the initial beginning and preventing all these things instead of me waiting until something happens.
Right.
And then being like, oh, well, okay, I'll fix that. Now I got to do collateral damage.
Right, I got to fix.
Like, that's like, okay, look at it like this. If it's a tornado, the reason we have tornado warnings is so you could get out of the way, you could prepare. Because if you don't prepare and a tornado hits, people die, things happen, a lot of structural damage happens, all that stuff. Now you got to deal with the aftermath of that tornado.
Right. I 100% agree. I do believe preparation stops devastation. And that's like I said, preventative maintenance. Because preventative maintenance, just so you all understand, my previous employment required a lot of maintenance style work. Right. So I had to go in and figure out before the issue arose. You know, it's like, oh, you need to grease some bearings. You need
what could possibly be an issue?
It could be an issue. We want to stop the issue because once the issue gets here, greasing a bearing, $5 worth of grease. Not even $5 worth of grease, because you buy a tube of grease, it's like $12, and then you only doing like 3 squirts in the air handle, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did my 3 squirts, got these bearings greased or whatever. It might not. It could be any type of appliance, but I do my 3 squirts. You didn't even use a quarter worth of grease out of this $12 can, and then voila, we back working, and we set up to where it ain't gonna be a lasting. Like, we prevented this issue and we've increased the longevity of it. The reason I'm saying I like to do things before, is because I know if you fixing the issues before they become problems, then you're overall increasing the longevity of your relationship.
Yeah. And before we get into it, I look at it like this. I was working on my mother-in-law's car just the other day. And the thing was, the spark plugs haven't been changed in so long that it was hell getting them out. Now, a regular car that is actually tuned up and things like that, right, you could get them out simple. It's easy. Oh, but when you've not done certain maintenance on the car in so long, now you have to deal with the issues that have arrived from if you would just did regular maintenance.
Right.
Been simple.
Right. Because gradual decay is real.
Yeah.
Negligence is a compounding agent to problems.
Yeah.
Just because you ignore the problem doesn't necessarily mean that the problem eradicates itself. It don't work like that. You have to, when something arises that is unfavorable, it is better to jump in there and address it. If you see a wasp building a nest on your front porch, it's better to deal with 1 wasp than the 20 wasps that she's going to build when she gets this nest up and going.
Yeah.
The longer you sit on a problem, the more it goes into, catastrophic issues. That's global warming, for example. That's what I'm saying. So
let's go jump into it.
Huh?
Like, let's jump into it as far as, like, for example, I look at something I'm like, I would rather my spouse change. For one, would be the fact would be her actually enjoying the moment. And the reason I bring up enjoying the moment is because you have to take your wins where you can get them. If all you're waiting for is the grand finale big finish, what happens if you die before that grand finale big finish?
Yeah.
That's like people working hard as hell their entire life to get to 65 and retire. You die at 66. Like, bruh, like, I worked 65 years.
For 66, and I didn't even see it.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like, enjoy those moments. If you can enjoy those moments in life, your life will feel much better. It's like, hey, this got accomplished. This goal was done. That goal was done. Cool, we're in this space. I'm like, we got a house. Let's be happy we have a house. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, do I want to be living like the Rockefellers? Yes. Do I really want to be rich? Yes. And I hope, and I do believe one day I will get to that point where it's like, money will never be an issue.
Right.
But I can't not enjoy the fruits of my labor because it's not the grand finale.
Right. I would say, they say comparison is the killer of joy.
Yeah.
If you're looking at, like, to compare yourselves to the $200 million mansion that Jay-Z and Beyonce just bought out there in Cali, and then you talk about your accommodations, by that comparison, that extreme, you're going to cause something that's really a major step in your life. Like, this is a big deal. I got a house. I moved from an apartment to a house. You're going to start calling your house meager accommodations, when in the truth, it supplies everything you need and more.
Yeah.
And so if you go compare with yourself. Compare where you started to where you are currently. that's how you enjoy the journey, or that's how you see the problem and make the correction. Just because somebody is like, when you go to the gym and you always see that one guy lifting extremely heavy weight, and you can like, it's almost discouraging to you. It's like, well, he repping 315 and I just got to it.
Yeah.
But time is relative to the person.
Like, I remember when I was younger, you go in the gym, you see the one dude got like 6 plates on there. I'm like,
hard. Rep.
And I'm like, you just hit. And I'm like, you put, well, I remember I was young, I put 2 plates on there. I'm over here struggling. I'm like, how is he getting there? I'm like, hold up. But I can't compare myself to that person because that person obviously put in certain work that I haven't put in at that point in time.
He's at a level in his journey that you haven't even reached that milestone yet, let alone got to that actual space. Like, you ain't reached the middle for that.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, once you build the systems and build the habits and put them in place, once you build a system of, hey, when I wake up at this time, I go to the gym. When I get to the gym, I do this routine. And you just keep on compounding all those positive actions, making it a habit in your life.
Yeah.
Eventually, if done properly and consistently, you will reach his level. And there'll be another person walking in the gym talking about, oh, well, you got that.
Like that.
I want to be like that. That's how you got to look at your marriages. That's how you got to look at your relationships. It's like, everybody has their rocky one through 5. Like, the first 5 years of marriage is always rocky. The first year, you still living on that honeymoon bliss, so you don't necessarily feel the pressures of the marriage, and you can't readily point out the positives in it outside of, I'm with the person I want to be with.
Okay.
Right? Once you get past that honeymoon phase and you really getting to the ending part of year 1 into year 2, then you start figuring out, okay, these are the habits. And because although a lot of people do the shacking thing, but me and my wife didn't shack, so you get to that second year, you start to notice all the little things that they do, those annoyances. Well, I don't like that you sleep and you put your leg over here. You know what I'm saying? Or you do this, that, and the third. And that's where the communication comes in, because you have to focus in on, we're taking 2 worlds and we finna merge them. It's finna be a chemical reaction. There's gonna be heat and friction going on in this to make this work. But once this vinegar meets this baking soda, the ending compound gonna be water. That's what we gonna diffuse all that and come back to a base compound that we are.
Okay.
So I'm moving through. I'm navigating your lanes and seeing your customs and all that. And now I'm bringing in mine, like, this is what we doing. So, and when I get to saying what we doing, what I'm saying is, okay, you like your toothbrush on the left. I used to like my toothbrush on the left. Can two toothbrushes be on the left? Is that a thing? Try it. If it works for us, it works for us. You know what I'm saying? But don't go to somebody else's house and see if they got all their toothbrushes hanging on the wall and be like, man, I wish my toothbrush could hang on.
Well, that was like one thing I had with toothpaste. Like, because I would squeeze my toothpaste from the bottom, and my wife should squeeze it from the middle. I'm like, why? Why you squeeze it from the middle? Squeeze it from the bottom so you know how much you got left. Yeah. And then it doesn't look all smashed in.
The presentation is better. You know what I'm saying?
But,
and it's more, it's useful. Like, it serves a purpose. But go ahead.
I've realized you have to pick your battles, because no matter what, you're either A, lying to yourself, or B, you don't want much. If you don't want to change something, it's like you're lying to yourself or you don't want much. Because, okay, look at it like this. As time goes on, like, we come together at this level. Mm-hmm. As we grow together, certain things we have, certain things we do start to change. So we start to develop, hey, I like this kind of thing, versus when I first met you, it wasn't really like that. Like, for example, me and my wife, when me and my wife first got together, I wasn't the big touchy-feely kind of person. It was like, nah, I don't need all that. But as I start getting older and stuff, I'm like, hey, man, cuddle and go hard.
I need that now.
Like, yeah, give it to me.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just like, if you don't give it to me, then I'm like, well, what's the issue?
Right.
It seems like it's the issue because we ain't cuddling now.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you're in a relationship. You change, you grow, you develop more.
Right.
And y'all should be developing into what you both want. If you refuse to change, honestly, you shouldn't be in any relationship.
That's because we're going to move on to the next topic here. I'm going to make this last statement in reference to what he just said. When you're in a relationship, seek to better your partner.
Yeah.
But before you even begin to work on them, do the work work on you first.
Better yourself.
Better yourself. You want to make sure that your partner is getting the best product of you. And that's across the board for men and women. Because I know people be like, you met me this way. I don't want to change. You got a whole list of things that you ain't going to do. What I'm telling you is take that list, go to your nearest fireplace or your nearest dump, burn that list, and really assess, am I giving the person my lifelong customer, the best product that I can provide? Because, like I said, don't compare yourself. In comparison to Jay-Z, like I said, I didn't just put my wife in this level home yet. You know what I'm saying? I ain't did that. So if I'm comparing myself to him, I really need to look at that as apples to oranges. There's a space in my life where I can aspire and attempt and actually go through the processes to reach that, sure. But I got to look at me for who I am and what the resources I currently have readily available.
Yeah.
Can I provide, instead of giving my wife an hour of attention today, as far as like genuine, what they call on Bad Boys, quality time, can I stretch that to an additional 30 today? When they come into me talking about things they like to do, can I get outside myself and try to find the enjoyment in being in that space? Because I hate when going places with people and they don't really want to be there. They're just doing it because you want, like they feel like that's what you want. Yeah. No, I want to be around people who enjoy this too. So if you can't find joy and fulfillment in this, I said this prior, it's probably best you buy the ticket and send them and their friend.
Yeah.
So you don't spoil the moment because they want to. Most people
don't nobody want to hear nobody complain when they're there.
Exactly.
But I came. But you complained the whole time.
You came and messed up my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of like fully immersing myself in what I like, now I'm trying to. How can I make this more enjoyable? Oh, I know they like to eat. So instead of spending my time at the attraction, I'm spending far more of my time at the concession stands to try to, make this something that you can like and I can like. But at that point, I've blown my experience.
Agree.
I'd rather you buy the ticket or tell somebody else, hey, you go with them, y'all enjoy that, come back and tell me about it at a nice restaurant. Find ways. We're going to go ahead and jump into the next topic. What are some of the main obstacles in a relationship and how do you overcome them? So, one of the main things that I feel most, if not all, relationships from a economic and your financial to your relationship or just in your life is time management. A lot of the times you trying to find that time to squeeze people in, or you trying to alter your plans to appease everybody around you.
Okay.
It almost feels like it would be far more beneficial. And I'm also going to go out on a limb and say that it is beneficial at times to go ahead and sometimes be selfish, man.
Yeah.
Just, look, I got to overcome this by making myself better. But if I can never spend time on myself.
Yeah. You can't be a better person if you don't work on yourself.
Like, I got to do product development. I got to develop me to give you more. So I say that to say, if you're working on your career, yeah, sometime I'm gonna have to study this. I'm gonna have to go learn from this person. I'm gonna have to take this trip. I'm gonna have to, and I can't do that and still be tethered down by the thought that, oh, I'm inconveniencing this person, or this person really wants my time. Sometimes I gotta do for me, because the end result is we in a better situation.
Yeah. Like there's a time and place for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't make time for everything, like for example, if you have a relationship, you should, and you're working, your work life, you work at work. Mm-hmm. When you come home from work, unless you have that type of job where you have to work from home, you should not be bringing your stress, your issues, your drama, what happened at the job home, because then that's going to start affecting that. Right. Because it's like you're trying to merge something in with something else, and they're not really supposed to be merged in that way. Yes, we're supposed to be able to vent, talk to each other, but when that was like, at one point in time, I was working overnight. And like my wife had just had my son. She was working in the days, I was working at night. I get off like 3, 4 in the morning and be home. And then we had to switch off with my son. Mm-hmm. We over here switching off. And then at one point in time, it was like, okay, we kept switching off. I wasn't getting sleep. I wasn't getting certain things because of the hours I worked and the hours she worked. So now, at one point in time, I blew up at my wife and my son because I'm like, I need time. I need this time, because if I don't have this time, I'm gonna go crazy.
Right.
So the idea is, you have to have time to recharge, to take care of your family, and to work.
And with that being said, that's an obstacle in the relationship, on the grounds that I'm working this hard, right? And you see me putting in this high level work, and what I take from it, and I can get my own examples. I'm gonna get that in a second. What I take from it is, I'm looking at you and seeing what you need, and I'm making accommodations for it. Yeah. That's where the lack of sleep comes in. That's the lack of recharge, because I'm looking at your battery the whole time, and like, oh, she's drained. Go sleep. I'll hold the kid. I'll do what I got to do. Oh, this, that, and the third. So the whole time, I'm giving, but I'm neglecting my recharge.
Yeah.
And then you got to the point where you trying to pull more power out of this battery, but the battery's dead.
Yeah.
So now the battery got to tell you, no, everything that you're talking about, I'm finna go plug back into this wall. I don't care what you got going. You can't pull. My mom used to say, you can't squeeze blood out of turnip. You can't get something that ain't there.
100% agree.
So, given my life experience, we got married, we had Paige, and similar to your situation, I'm working overnight, and the job I had prior to the one I hold now, it was really a dangerous type situation. You on top of roofs, you inside of really large machines, stuff can hurt you all the time. There's people out there who got missing eyes and stuff like that. It's crazy, and you would think like, oh, but that's just the life he was living, because it pays bills.
Yeah.
So I go to work. I hit, my 8 hours. I'm on my way back to the house, and the first thing that greets me at the door is my dog. And I'm like, my wife, she in there sleep. She got like, 2-3 hours before she got to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
She take her 2-3 hours. I'm still up with Paige, because now who's watching Paige?
Yeah.
And that's me like, let me be selfless there, because she might need to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, you've been sleeping for 8 hours. I know you have, because I was at work for 8.
If you weren't sleeping for 8 hours, that's your fault.
You know what I'm saying? You can't blame me. That's you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the relationship. You looking at it like, hey, I'm going to extend that.
Yeah.
You get home, You don't come right away and get the kid because you know at this point now I've been up 16. I've been up 16 now.
Yeah.
You don't come here to get the kid. You had a hard day at work. First thing you said, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm gonna go take a nap." My daughter, she ain't took no nap, right? I ain't took no nap. Like none of us have been asleep. Like, okay, you go take the nap. You didn't look and see how can I better the product for the customer. You took it upon yourself to be selfish. I'm like, okay, that's one thing. But when you start compounding that and like, so now it's day
Start
3.
building up.
Day 3. I'm 72 hours.
Man.
No sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk into the house like I do. You know, like I said, I've been trying not to fall asleep around these large machines because Daddy won't be coming home if I keep playing at work. You know, I gotta focus in. I come home on the 3rd day, going into the 4th, and my daughter meet me at the door. Brother, I tell you, I just, you know, she in there asleep. My daughter meet me at the door. I literally just like, hold on, Paige. Close the door, turn back around.
Hey, this happened.
And went to the car. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. I've sat in my car sometimes, and it's like it's not that I don't want to be in there. It's just I can't be in there right now. It's like I need that recharge.
Yeah, I can't. I don't want to blow up on you right now.
Mm-hmm. Because I ain't gonna lie, I blew up because I'm like, man, you gonna take you and this baby on somewhere,
bro. I had to blow up when I started seeing that it was like I can't say 100% that it was leading to health complications, like living like that, but I'm sure it was. But it was one day I was sitting at the edge of the bed and my chest got real tight and like I felt like this pain in it. I'm telling you,
anxiety.
I don't know what it was. I was like, I hope I'm not having a heart attack. You know, putting out because you know, like I said, I ain't been asleep.
Yeah.
Like outside of maybe an hour here, an hour there, I ain't been for real sleep. Like I can't add up all the naps that I took this week and make 8 hours. Or even make 4. Like so I'm like, I'm really on E right now. And then, you know, a child, they don't understand it. They can't gauge that. They don't I just
like, oh, Daddy home.
Yeah, Daddy home, it's time to play. Daddy home, it's time to play. You know? So eventually I just got in. I had to. That's why communication. That's why I'm so big on communication. Yeah. Because I had to be like, hey, look, I'm trying everything in me not to you know, jump outside myself and say something wild to you. Yeah. I need, like, you know, I said as clear cut as I could. I was like, look, get up and watch Paige. What? No, we ain't talking about nothing else. Get up.
Need to go and get that done.
Watch your daughter. I'm going to sleep. Yeah. It's like, you know, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm looking at it from my lens and preventative maintenance. And I saw you tired. And so I've been extending myself to make sure that you got adequate sleep to do your job, right? Yeah. So I'm taking it from my like, okay, so you should see it my way and live like I live, and you're going to automatically insert yourself to better my life to try to fix that for me. But when you don't, it's like, oh, I assumed and I got what I got because I assumed.
So I've realized that you cannot assume anything from anyone, even though you would think if I'm going, like, if I will give you my last, I will hope you give me your last. Right. It's like, if I'm going to give you my all, I will hope you will give me your all. But a lot of times what you realize, that whole saying, you have not because you ask not. And I hate that it's like that because I'm like, come on, man, you ain't even asked me, I gave it to you.
Right. But that's, you realize that that's how you, like, you can't expect people to be you. And that have not because you ask not in whatever relationship you get in. Yeah. That right there is going to be proven true on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. Like, for you, it might not be. From you to them, it may not be that way. From me to my wife, it's not that way. Outside of picking up socks, I'm one of those people who I walk in the house, I'm barefoot. If the socks at the door, the socks at the door. If the socks in the kitchen, the socks in the kitchen. If the socks in the baby crib, the socks in the baby crib. I don't know how they got there, but that's what they are.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
But outside of that, like if it's something that I see you in need of, I'm not gonna ask you. I'm gonna just
get it
done.
I'm
gonna get it done. I'm preventing that from being an obstacle in your life. Do not assume or put those expectations on your spouse. They live by a different like set of rules. They see life through different lenses. You have to look at it as a man. I asked you to go on a date.
Yeah.
Like, and only thing you had to do is either accept it or not. Like, so you saying I put forth the energy to get an outcome. I don't want to be at home alone tonight. I need to find me somebody. Preventative maintenance. Let me start talking to girls.
Yeah.
Girls, on the other hand, it's more of an osmosis. If I'm in an area long enough with viable candidates, one of them are going to try to approach me to try to get me to do so. It's a passive thing. I don't have to do anything outside of what I would hope is natural self-grooming. Keep yourself as beautiful as you can because, you only live once and you ain't going to be beautiful forever. You do get older. And old has its own beauty, but I'm telling you that 20-year-old, that 18, 25 to 35 fine, that at 35, it starts to wane. Outside of that, one lady 75.
I was thinking about this and it reminded me, like, in a relationship, there's always going to be someone that can adapt to a situation just because that is who they are. Then there are certain people that are forced to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, look at it like this on a grand scheme of animals. Like, at one point in time, they said giraffes had short necks. But now, giraffes have long necks. And the reason why giraffes have long necks is because foliage, being their main source of food, was up high up in the trees. So unless they wanted to die, they had to adapt.
Right.
But some people have to be forced to. If you need these things, hey, you need them, you're going to have to adapt, or you're not going to get them. Then certain people is like, hey, I see you need this. I see you struggling with this, see you struggling with that. You know what? I'm going to help you with that.
Right.
I'm going to adapt to my surroundings because you could put me anywhere, whether I'm up in high society or down in the gutter with the unsavory crowd. Yeah, I was like, I want to make sure I say that. Unsavory crowd. But I could adapt to either situation I am. I could talk with perfect vernacular and understanding and give you clarity that you may never understand. Or I could talk as hood as I want to be and act the way I want to because I can adapt to those things.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in a relationship, you need to learn how to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know how to adapt on your own, you should be able to take it when your spouse tells you you have to adapt.
So yeah, either you do product development or you put out surveys. I like it's not a thing, at least as far as I know, but I do believe you should get you some sort of box, and just like you have at your house, give us feedback. Like just because you might not have your spouse, you might only meet them in passing, but let me just let you know right here, fam, if you leave my restroom looking like that ever again, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Slip. And you just throw it in there, you just got to come back home, read, they be like, I did mess up.
Yeah.
Either you take accountability or you can challenge it sometimes, sure.
Yeah.
But I just feel like a lot of the communication is lost in the day-to-day, and that lack of communication, like in my case, the lack of communication, I'm putting up this level to ensure that you're in good spirits and show that you're good, but I'm not communicating that I'm in need too.
Yeah.
Like I need something. Like I gotta. So I'm hoping that you adapt. When the better answer for me at that point, because like I said, I thought it might have been some real health complications.
Yeah. I understand.
I should have been more, let me communicate that this ain't gonna work for me. Let me, the closed mouth don't get fed. Well, I'm hungry.
Mm-hmm. I'm starving.
I'm starving. Go get this done. Do it now.
And yes, we all know there's certain things that it may take you longer. Then there's certain things you may not ever change because that's you as a core.
Mm-hmm.
Now, certain things you can change. The majority of you can change a lot of things about yourself. Now, whether you want to, that's on you. Maybe you haven't met that right person to make you change.
Right.
Because, like, for example, one thing with me, I'm one of those people, I don't care about the toilet seat being down or up. It's however I left it. I'm now about to come back to be like, oh, let me flip it down so she don't fall in. You better look before you sit. And I'm like, somebody will be like, oh, that's so insensitive. As much great things as I do, is my wife really going to be pissed off about this toilet seat?
Really not.
Like, and if she pissed off about that,
I'm just like, but for some people, that's amazing. So I don't want to discredit those people, but at the same time, I want to discredit those people because
you got to pick and choose about it.
I'm like, you said that earlier, and now we see how it rings true. Certain hills ain't ones to die on, fam.
Yeah.
Like, just because you don't want to adapt and say, let me look at this seat, because I don't know how this man left this. I don't know what state he left his toilet in. Before you sit down, if you fall in the water, don't blame me. You got to take accountability. I should have looked. Because I guarantee you, if I walk into the restroom and you left the toilet seat down and I pee all over it, I got to take it to a
I got to be like, crap, man. I got to clean this up. Or I know she going to say something. And by right, she's right to say something.
Because you see that it's down, you need to lift it up. If that's the thought process, which it is, then if you see it up, you need to put it down.
Yeah.
But small, trivial things like that only become a problem once it's in excess. If I got too many small things that I want you to change, you got too many small things that you get annoyed with by me, then all those small things compound into a bigger thing where you don't like me. Don't like the way I move. So some of those are heels to at least have a battle on.
Yeah.
To try to minimize the irritation in a relationship.
Yeah.
However, it's better to, like I said, it's better to find yourself in an adaptive state.
Let it go.
Adapt to that, but it's also just it's a balance. Adapt to certain things, speak up on everything.
Yeah.
If there's an issue or a problem, state it. Because just because you got a mindset to fix the issues before they become issues, the person you with may or may not have been raised to do that, so they looking at it, I only fix it when it breaks.
Yeah.
But some people know I can stop it from breaking.
Yeah, as long as I fix it, maintain it.
Maintain. I can stop it from breaking if I maintain it. All right. We are going to jump into You Won't Believe This, and You Won't Believe This is brought to you by.
As always, love to shout out my beautiful wife. Hey, baby. Check out Yanni Like Mine, Traces Like Mine, and Wasted Desires. You can go on wasteddesires.com. You can find anklets, bracelets, thigh chains, waist beads, all those different things to make your body glitter and sparkle. Go wasteddesires.com. On Facebook, Instagram, you can find all three. Traces Like Mine. This is hair care product for a Black woman by a Black woman to help Black women. You know, a lot of ladies say you don't find things for you in the stores. This is the woman that's actually marketing towards you. Then Yanni Like Mine. Ladies, take care of your Yanni. If you don't know what your Yanni is, look it up. Also, it does not clean itself no matter what anybody tells you.
All right. Tyler Bailey, Luxury Clothes by a Luxury Guy. My cousin Mike. They call him Wiggling These Game Spaces. He runs a podcast called State of Being.
SOB.
But it's not that way. Okay? State of Being. And if you go in there, his topic range is relatively aligned with ours in a way. He talks about similar things. being a better man in your communities, and that realm. But he also dives in the flat Earth theory, which is crazy to me. But he jumps off into that. So if you a flat Earther, hey,
has he talked about the bio? Like we all in different biodomes and stuff.
I don't know if he went into biodomes. Because I don't know. Because the only thing I know about flat Earth theory comes from him. So if I ain't heard it, then he ain't said it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm letting you know.
There's a lot of things
it's entertaining information. The thing about it is, I'm showing you personally. I don't believe in flat Earth theory, but I'm able to look in and watch his content. And it's not based on the fact that I love my cousin. It's just that he finds a way to make it entertaining. So go check him out. Listen to what he got to say. If you don't like what you saw today, watch him tomorrow. I'm sure he'll get to you. But primarily, the people I want to shout out right now is us. That is something. The number 4, DA People. If you're on YouTube, type something. The number 4, DA People podcast. It's gonna minimize the search results, bring us up a lot quicker. We on all, as far as I know, we on all the podcast streaming platforms that Anchor provides, and some that Anchor does not, thanks to Mr. Hicks here. So, and Fanbase, which is a Black-owned, social media content production type situation, go find us on there. Outside of that,
like, subscribe, share. Let us know how you feel about it.
Let us know if you want to leave a star review, 5 stars. We're a 5-star gentleman. You want to be in the 5-star range. And if you comment, you can comment whatever you want. We're going to read and look at it. If you cannot provide a 5-star review because you feel like what we provide is not satisfactory to your liking, then feel free to go find other people. It's okay to go find other people. Come back to us when you got a taste or an ear. Maybe you haven't reached these milestones in life. It's what it is. But that being said, we're going to jump on to the next topic. All right. City girls have their son making it rain on strippers backstage at Rolling Loud. It's Young Miami is the one who had her son back there. And neither her nor her co-star JT sees an issue with it. And I'm trying to figure out what her take is. So JT, when they asked her about it, she was like, my 10-year-old nephew is going to, refer to me as the fun aunt.
Whatever happened to the whole, we do kid things, like you take your kid to Chuck E. Cheese, you take your celebration station, the DZ Discovery Zone, all that kind of stuff. When we start taking kids to strip clubs, though,
I don't know.
Like, at some point in time, we need to stop this trying to make children grown-ups. Like, you don't put children in grown-up positions. I do not. That was just like I was talking yesterday because I saw this one thing on TikTok where this lady twerking in front of a 1-year-old. Like, she just twerk. I'm like, it's not, she was twerking around him. No, she was twerking for the 1-year-old. And I'm like, what in your mind made you thought this was okay?
And I know that a lot of people don't like to bring up the argument that, hey, if that were a man doing that in front of a little girl, we all be up in arms.
Yeah.
We got to stop with this desensitization towards what men go through. Just because you as a 35-year-old man would prefer her twerking in front of you does not mean that your 1-year-old son who hasn't developed the understanding of that situation prefers that. No, bro, don't do that. One, in JT and Young Miami, they situation with a 10-year-old boy, like, just because he's 10 years old and he's in that and he's going through the motions of saying that he likes this, what you're doing is you could be producing a sexually aggressive child.
Yeah. Which those things happen.
That happens. When he goes around girls and stuff like that who are around his age group who has not had his life experiences, his expectation is of, hey, women dance when I throw money at them.
Yes.
So you're going to make him have unrealistic expectations of young girls. Or he'll end up being in a relationship with an older woman.
Yeah.
And outside of that, he could end up in a space to where the young girls who are around him, he basically pushes them to be older because I had this experience. My expectation is this is a fun experience. So he pushes that into their space. And we all know when you go to strip clubs and things of that nature, a large portion of them are heavily sedated by drugs just to be up there to do this and all kinds of stuff like
alcohol,
that. Different. So it leads to a whole bunch of issues and complications that you shouldn't be forcing your child into. The experiences and stuff like that lead that child to try to find understanding of what just took place. Just because he don't fully understand what took place, when he's doing it, what he will ultimately do as he progresses and grows older, you're gonna start looking at his phone, finding search results for activities that are more on the adult 18 plus round, and you could potentially end up with a MTV situation, 16 and pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why people shun those activities, or the reason why we saying no to that, is because of what it could possibly lead to. And there's plenty of research, plenty of statistics that show if you talk to serial, like I think it was Ted Bundy, he was like a large portion of his, before he started going on them sprees, he said, I attribute how I saw women to this. When I was a kid, I saw this magazine, this dirty magazine, while I was riding a bike on the way home. And he said, I feel like that was the start. Because now I'm trying to figure it out. No, I think that was that Bryant kid. Regardless, I ain't gonna get
and the reason is that I bring it up is because honestly, I was one of those young kids. I was introduced to the sexual atmosphere at a young age. It wasn't by my parents or stuff like that, but it was the environment I was in. I was introduced at a young age. Even as a young child, I was watching porn at 7. And I'm like, as a 7-year-old, no, you're not supposed to be.
You're not supposed to be.
But all these things, as I grew up, thank God, the person I had a child by is my wife. Now, I know growing up, those things played a heavily influence on it because I was looking for the go lava. I was looking for the one that is about that life because I'm like, oh man, I want to hold hands with
I want to experience what I see on there. They look like
I want to do that. Like they having a good time. This is like when you have that's like eating a piece of beef jerky versus the T-bone steak. Like, bruh, you got beef jerky. Man, ain't nobody worried about beef jerky. T-bone steak, I've had it. I want the steak. So the idea is let children be children.
Yeah.
You don't have to push your child to grow up so fast to be this, be that. Like, let children watch cartoons. They do not need to be seeking or looking for adult experiences because, yes, they will, no matter what you say. Oh, well, my child, I talk to him about. Yes, you could talk to your child till you're blue in the face. But we all know there were things that your parents said, don't do that. And then messed around. You did it. Then you're like, she was like, dang it, I knew I shouldn't have did that. Like, you should have listened. But you too busy trying to make these children your friend and be adults with them. I'm like, no, I don't party with my kids. No, my child has never seen me take a drink. Neither one of them.
Right.
Because the idea is I want them to see the representation of their father. Hey, does daddy really be cussing? No, I'm not going to say I've never cussed and my children have not heard that, but I try my hardest to be the best representation of a father for them. Mm-hmm. And as we said before, if you're not adapting, if you're not trying to be the best you could be, I don't expect somebody to do the exact same things I do.
Right.
But if you're not being the best you could be, you're trash.
Yeah. Like if you are somebody, because I'm sure they thought process is, well, this type of stuff happened to me all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because their whole moniker is we girls from the city. Like this is just what we do. But if you are not trying to provide a better situation for the people who come after you, then I agree with what you just said. You trash individual. Like just because you went through there and had to drive, go down them rabbit holes and try to find yourself, and you finally pulled yourself together, does not mean that you have to send your children down that same path. Don't get me wrong. There are life lessons that every child needs to learn. True. A child needs to understand loss. A child needs to understand victory. A child needs to understand that the world, you are not the sun. We don't revolve around you. Everybody got a life that they live in. So it's certain key parts of life that people have to understand, just to be a tolerable person in society. What I'm saying on top of that is you can't go through and be like, I want you to experience everything I experience because I like who I am. I am ecstatic about who I am. Like I just know that if I cut the fat on this, or if I make sure my kid don't be in this environment and understand that your goals and how I see your life going and how ultimately I want to steer you in this is geared and is oriented towards that type of lifestyle right there. Like you can go and be that, son. You can go be that, my love daughter. You can go be that. Like positive greatness. Like expose your kid to doctors and expose your kids to lawyers. And like I said, even if it ain't that, expose your kids to the local journeyman plumber. Like it's various occupations that you can do to make a living. Expose your kids, like you said, to cartoons. Allow them to imagine themselves in worlds that are beyond them, so that when they can aspire and try to reach to that, as opposed to the degradation or the ignorance and all that prominent in your life. Like instead of she got one interview, and first of all, I'm not even gonna go down that road because I ain't trying to put you down.
I just want you to do better.
I just want you to do better, and I want you to understand that you can do better for your son.
And yes, as a young man, I understand somebody gonna say, "Oh well, I'm doing the best I can." Men and women, no matter how you are, draw the line. We are not the same. We do not do the same. We don't think the same. We don't act the same. There are certain things as a woman you understand and you can do way better than a man. There are certain things as a man. Like I've never heard a man not think about the sexual aspects.
Right.
So, because you know as well as I do, we think about those things. That may not be the main thing you think about, but it's on his mind somewhere.
It's on my list. We're going to get them.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. So don't expose your child, especially young boy. Well, no, I ain't even going to say young boys. Don't expose your child to something they're not ready or capable of handling at this point in time. And no, at 10 years old, throwing money on strippers and...
But that also goes back, because like I said, we are a show that's trying to help us, one, help you understand men and how to deal with men, but also how to provide a better environment for men.
Yes.
Because on an earlier episode, I said, stop lying to men. There is no safe space for a man, right? I'm trying to show you, if you're going to say it and you wish to produce it, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Just because men grow up 18, like really 17 up, just because we start to pursue women in a more sexual manner,
yes,
does not mean that as children we are not children. When it's a kid over there, 6 years old, 16 and up, depending on how fast you is, the environment you in, because it shapes a lot about you. Depending on who you are, how you move, no, you should be just as up in arms about a guy twerking in front of a 6-year-old girl as you are about a 25-year-old woman twerking in front of your 1-year-old male son.
Yeah.
You have to treat those the exact same way. I understand that this is a boy, and you be like, oh, he's acting mannish. Well, he needs to act mannish when he's a man.
Yes.
When he's a child, let him be a child.
Putting those things on somebody at a young age exposes them to way more risk than actual help.
Yeah,
it's like
very few benefits to
that. There's no benefit of learning about something that your mind can't comprehend at this moment.
Because you lack the experiences necessary to fully appreciate it or understand it in its totality.
Yeah.
I've been watching Teletubbies all week, and then I watched this porn video where they did this X-rated activity. So now I'm seeing the Teletubby bump up into the other Teletubby, and I'm like, are they trying to insinuate these acts? Like, what are they doing? You start to question everything that's going on in your life, and the only reference point you got is something that is fictional, unrealistic, and doesn't happen on a consistent. Like, that's not how it works. That's not how real love works. That's not how it works. But you start to insert that in different aspects of your life, the different experiences you have, and then you start to derail. Oh, so now if a girl holds my hand, I'd rather her grab my crotch.
Yeah. I'd rather be holding her cheeks or something.
Holding her cheeks. That's what I would prefer. As like I said, a 35-year-old man, that is a very acceptable situation. Like,
yes. But even like as a 10-year-old, like I'm like I could never. My mom, what was it? Up until probably the age of 15, 16, turn your head. Like, God, it's like, Mama, it's a boob. Turn your head. He's like,
but she got to reinforce that, like, hey, there's no doubt in my mind that your mom already knew. You probably seen 100 boobs, but I need him to understand that there's certain stuff that you're not ready for.
Yeah. So
turn your head.
Yeah.
Like, granted, I could walk out the room, the same boob be on TV, especially now with, streaming services. You can just turn the show right back on once I walk out. But when you're around me, the expectation is the best interpretation of you. So, no, you are not finna, in my presence, even if it's a directorial, depiction, put women in a space where they can be objectified. No. Yeah. You have to respect the women you're around. And if there is a woman showing you her boob, it's got to be because she wants to show you her boob. It's a moment that you and that person is sharing. True. Instead of, it's a community boob.
Everybody gets to see.
Everybody can see boob. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to develop the life experiences to understand that that's TV and there's another space and it's called real life.
But that's the thing is, even now, with all the things going on, reality TV merging, it's like basically things that even maybe 10, 15 years ago, you would never see on TV.
Right.
Now you see them, like, what was it? I was watching Queen of the South, and like the first episode is one of those sexually assaulted scenes. I'm trying to get away from saying the R word, but I'm like, no, 10 years ago, this is a TV show. It is not a movie. This is a TV show that come on regular TV.
Bro.
And we watching the sexually assaulted scenes?
I'm sitting up here and I'm watching Gravity Falls. This is a cartoon that came on. I forgot exactly what network it came on.
It was on Cartoon Network at one point in time.
Cartoon Network, but one, I'm going to give them props. It was a phenomenal show. I watched every episode. I'm not even going to front. I watched, not saying that I would have to front, like I'm very confident in watching cartoons. I watch cartoons all the time. But this cartoon in particular was exceptional. But it's this one segment where this guy, I think it was called Love God, comes on. And then, he's Love God, so he's professing love. So he's throwing this like little concert, he's throwing little bombs at people to make them fall in love. Well, it's a scene where the Love God opens up his van. And then it's like everybody's in there and they all close together like they in love. And it's 2 guys, 2 girls. It's a whole bunch of, basically, the cartoon is depicted an orgy popping off.
Okay.
But, they did it in a slick, sly way.
Yeah.
But, it's like, wait, my daughter watching still with me, and I'm like, her mind at the time has what her mind currently hasn't put two and two together to be like what was going on. And I'm like, I understand it's in a cartoon. Could that cartoon have made it through and been as successful as it was without that scene? Yes. But the potential for you to put me in a space where I gotta explain the origin and the back of a pickup van with the cartoon characters, like, fam, come on, bro, don't do me like that.
Man, but that also makes me think about this last one, Ren and Stimpy. Like, growing up, Ren and Stimpy, you're like, oh, it's just what you call. But when you become, when you get older and you start, like, we showed my mom this one day, and the thing was, Ren and Stimpy were living in this dude's mouth. And it was like the uvula, the thing that hangs down. It tickles Ren on the butt. And then Ren wakes up and he's like, what's going on? And tickles him on the butt again. All of a sudden, out of the blue, like, Ren wakes up, he starts beating the crap out of Stimpy, and he's like punching him in the face. He's like, how many times I gotta tell you, Stimpy? I'm the pitcher, you're the catcher. I'm the pitcher, you're the catcher. Say it. He's like, you're the pitcher, I'm the catcher. You're the pitcher, I'm the catcher. And I'm like, this is outrageous. Like, how did this make it on regular TV?
Yeah, how do we get here?
I'm like, wow. Like, if you ever don't understand, go watch old episodes of Ren and Stimpy. You could look them up on YouTube. It's like, wow, this is marketed toward children, but it's for adults.
Guaranteed.
I'm like, I wish we would honestly let children just be themselves. Children. Like, I hear little kids cussing up a storm. I hear little kids doing all this ignorant stuff. I'm like, and when I mean little, I'm like 10. Like 10, you telling somebody to suck your stuff at 10?
But when you start listening to the music, like you saw the little girl on the, she was really young. She was on Instagram. She was saying, she's basically singing what's that? I think a Sexy Red song. Mm-hmm. Looking for the hoochie daddies and all that.
Oh, Pound Town.
Yeah, but she's singing Pound Town.
Oh, the little girl, little idiot. I'm like,
but I understand from an artist space, they're like, it's not unknown who I make my music for. She's making her music for a certain demographic of women, 20, 25, 30 and up. You know what I'm saying? This is who she's making her music for. She can't account for every parent who's going to be negligent and allow their kid to ingest this music. But you put yourself in a space to where now, I as a parent, got to sit back and explain it. And then these younger parents, these people, you know, they don't even, it hasn't even clicked in their brain that, oh, shoot, my child really just picked that up. And she wants to know what, eventually the child's going to want to know, what am I talking about?
Yeah.
And they ain't going to feel 100% comfortable coming and talk to you about it, but they going to start to recognize the type of men that come in and out of the house, the type of men that in their neighborhoods, the type of men, like they going to understand their environment.
Yeah.
So you have
to pick up on it.
You have to be conscious of what you putting around your kids, what you allowing your kids to view. You need to go ahead and start getting them filters on your YouTubes and the filters on your TVs that's kind of monitoring these things and saying, hey, this ain't good for you, this ain't gonna work for you, this, no. When the time comes, I will remove those and allow you to ingest those at your own pacing, sure. Because I do believe a child deprived is almost as bad as a child who's been, you know, overindulged or overengaged. Mm-hmm. So there's a time for all of it, right? Like with Teen Wolf, I was like, don't be saying Teen Wolf in every episode somebody getting knocked down. That's not okay. Because now I'm a teen, I'm watching this, and I'm like, you know what? I need to go and probably clap some cheeks too. You gotta be. Either way, we're gonna jump on to the next portion of this. We going into Just So You Know. Can you, and the question is, and we're gonna answer this question as best we can. with our life experiences. Can you argue facts with feelings?
See, the thing is, you can, but it's like apples and oranges. Your feelings, that's just like when people keep talking about my truth. My truth is your feelings. The facts are the facts that can be proven, or disproven. That's what facts are. It's not how you feel about the situation, what you want the situation to be, or what you're trying to make the situation be. It's what the situation is. A big issue we have now is with everything. Everybody's talking about, oh, my truth is this, and I'm going to speak my truth. But what if it's your opinion? That doesn't have to be the truth. That's just how you feel.
Right.
So you arguing the facts. That's like if you say, hey, this table is tan, or this table is brown, or light brown, or something. That's a fact.
Fact.
Now, if you say, oh, the table is purple because I believe that it could be purple. Where?
I mean, a fact is you can paint the table purple if you choose.
Yes.
However, in its current state, it is not purple.
Yes, and that is a big issue we have. America is the #1 leading country on feelings.
Right.
It's like, oh, everybody's feeling matters. Oh, well, I don't like this. I don't like the way they do this. I don't like the way people say this. I'm like, how you feel don't affect me.
Don't put that in me.
Like, I respect everybody. You have your own opinions. And everybody should have their own opinions.
Right.
But when you try to force your opinion to be my facts, it gets to a big issue. That's like if we're talking about, let's just say, in the household. Okay, I pay the bills here. I'm okay with paying the bills. I can't argue with the mortgage company about, well, since I've been paying the bills here, then it's my house. Until I pay this house off.
The fact is, it's their house.
It's still their house. Until I pay it off. When I pay it off, it becomes my house.
Now we're in the facts.
Yeah.
You own it now. It's yours.
Yes.
Unless you don't pay taxes.
Yeah. Then, which is bad. We ain't gonna get into that.
Ain't that podcast you got about somebody else.
Yeah, we ain't gonna, because I will argue that one all day. Like
what it is.
Just like with your car. A fact, you can say that's your car, but let you miss a payment on that car note. Let you miss a couple of payments. They're going to come get your car.
Exist.
Now, when you pay your car off, that is your car. Mm-hmm. But the issue we have now is everybody keeps trying to, has this delusion now that, oh, my feelings should matter to everyone.
Right. I feel like they came in under the moniker of I'm the most I'm super important. I tell you all the time, the best thing I learned as a kid is that nobody really looks at you like you look at you.
Yeah.
You will never be as important to me as I am to me. Your kids, they reach it though. Because I view myself as the present, right?
Yeah.
So the moves that I make currently affect the future. And I look at my kids as the future.
Yeah.
So I'm like, by right of you being here and I'm trying to make a better world for you, the future is important. I know my time is limited. I have to go at some point. You'll be here. If it's going by, natural way, the way I expect it to go, you'll be here and you'll have to suffer the things that either I neglected or you'll get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. That's why you become more important.
Yeah.
Right? That from that perspective. But if you start talking about hey, somebody got to go to work and you feel like I should watch and play this video game with you, at that point, I'm looking out for both of us and going to work because what you don't understand, your limited knowledge is the electricity pumping through the TV and through that game system is provided by this work that I'm doing. But like I said, that's putting children in a place that's before their time.
Yeah. Like, I was thinking about one thing. It's like, okay. And we were partially having part of this conversation yesterday. Okay. I think I am handsome.
Right.
Somebody may not think I'm handsome. Some people may think, oh yeah, he is very handsome. But for me to tell everybody I am the apex of all men, I'm the best man that ever lived, like, that's your feelings. That's how you feel. That's the opinion. That is not a fact.
Right.
Just like when you hear some ladies, there are very pretty ladies out here. But I heard this one podcast where they were like, oh, what celebrity would you consider yourself look like? And one girl, she was like, oh, I think I look like, I think I'm the celebrity she chose was Megan Good. She was like, yeah, I think Megan Good is like an 8 or a 9. And it's like, yeah, I'm about 8 or a 9. So they're looking at her, looking at a picture of Megan Good. Then shoots back to her again, shoots back, and they're like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but no. If Megan Good is a 9, how would you put yourself in the same exact category? Now, again, I know it goes off of people's perceptions
and opinions.
But your opinion does not make it true, because if I put your picture up against this person's picture and everybody down the list is like, no, yeah, no. It goes to that point where it's almost like you're being delusional. You know.
I would hope that. So I feel like there was a problem in the question itself. Okay, who's a celebrity? You want to name Megan Good, because obviously there's not many men in this universe that I know of that's gonna say that Megan Good isn't a beautiful specimen. Like, she's a beautiful person.
Yes.
She's gorgeous, right? And also Carrie Hilson is gorgeous.
Yeah.
But let's just say I ain't gonna shoot. I'm just
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington is gorgeous. But Grant, you put them in a space to where, okay, we've all come to a almost unanimous decision that Megan Good isn't a beautiful woman.
Yes.
And then you're forcing me to compare myself to Megan Good, who has her whole life and majority of her career is based around how she looks.
Yeah.
She ain't worried about the day-to-day stuff that you may be worried about. She ain't doing the things that you do.
Yeah.
She has people.
She has fitness trainers. She has all these other things.
She has people whose career is solely based on what she looks like. Your life is dictated. Your life and your pay is dictated by how beautiful I am.
Yeah.
So people are gonna go the extra mile. You're gonna get the best beauticians. You're gonna get the best salons. You're gonna get the best manicures, the best skin routines, the best, because your product and how you survive is based on your physical appearance. So you go through and she says, oh, well, I view Megan Good. Let's be honest, she should have said Megan Good is a 10. Regardless, I view Megan Good as an 8 or a 9. And what do you view yourself as? Oh, I'm an 8 or a 9. So you compare yourself to Megan Good. If I had everything that Megan Good had, then I could possibly reach that light. But in the lifestyle that I live, the men that I associate myself with, when I'm walking around, they don't get to talk to the Megan Goods. So, yeah. A Jonathan Majors 10 is a Megan Good. You know what I'm saying? That's attainable for him. Yeah. For everybody else that's living in this, in the wedge that we in, the reality that we in,
yeah,
the girl next door could be your 10, fam.
Yeah.
And I'm not finna try to knock it. It is what it is. Of the pool of people that I'm close in proximity to, that I actually have access to, yeah, she my 10. Now, when she wants to step out into the Megan Girl world, then let's be realistic. You gotta drop that rating, baby. You have to, because you need to truly assess if you're going to try to compare product to product, because at that point, You turned her beauty into a product.
Yeah.
You got to really assess your product. Do I have the best beauticians? Did I go get the teeth procedure? Did I? Because now I'm trying to sell myself as that. So when he says there's a level of delusion in that thought process, you have to understand. Comparison is the killer of joy. There are people, like, don't be delusional. There are people who are in different lanes than you.
Man.
And they are driving them well. There are levels in life that you have not reached because of the choices that were made prior to you.
Or you.
That sets you in a whole different light. You can't even put yourself in the same spec. Like, I can't tell you that, oh, I'm a 10 just like Megan Good's a 10 without you giving your context. Like, I can't tell you that I'm Boris Kojo, whoever, Tyson Bedford.
Like,
your jobs to look good, fam. My job is to feed my family. To my wife, I'm a 10, bro.
Like, way of looking at it. If you watch the early episodes of Kevin Samuel and all that kind of stuff, he was getting on the men at first.
Right.
And there's one dude, like, he went in on him because the dude was talking about, oh, he deserves this type of woman. He's a high value man. And so Kevin Samuels asked him, "How are you a high value man? How much do you weigh?" He's like, "Oh, about 295." He was like, "How tall are you?" Like, "Oh, I'm like 5'6". He's like, "So you short and fat?" And then I'm like, "Yeah, for that, for 5'6" and almost 300 pounds, yeah, you short and fat." Now he was like, "How much you make?" He was like, "Oh, I make about a good 32. 32 what?" He was like, it was like, and he's like 32,000 a year. He's like, "Huh?" He was like, "How many hours a week you work?" They're like, "Oh, I work about a good 40. He's like, "So you make $32 an hour?" And he's like, "Roughly, you make probably about $10, $11 an hour." It's like, okay. So then he asked him, "Hey, you got a big penis?" He's like, "Well, I mean, it's kind of, it's." He's like, "You know if you have one or not." And then he was like, "Oh, so you don't? What makes you think you would be considered a high value man?"
Right.
In every way, you're delusional.
What Kevin Samuels did that a lot of people did not like or did not fully understand, he just attacked habitual line steppers. Like, you trying to step over outside of your lane into this spectrum. You trying to tell people who are not the people that you attract that you should be attracted to me. You trying to force your thought process on somebody else.
You trying to be in the pros when you hadn't even made it to the semi-pros yet.
Even you haven't done the work. It's like the people who sit in this lane and live life like this, they're doing this type of work. He's basically asking you, are you doing that type of work? No. Okay, so you're not doing that type of work. And then when he asks about the penis, he said, "Has God blessed you to be well endowed?" Because at this point, I'm looking for a saving grace, kid.
Something to help you out,
something to make where I don't have to tell you or disprove this opinion you got and give you the facts. Was you born like this? Because if not, then I don't see any reason why people who live and do what I do, the women that I associate and talk to, why they would bypass me, a guy making X number of dollars a year, doing this, that, and the third, and ticking all their check marks in this lane. Why they would bypass me, neglect me, and come in search of you, who would be in a lower bracket than I am.
Yeah.
And I know people like, how are you going to put us in brackets? Because your whole life you've been getting put in brackets.
True.
When you got them C's and D's in school, they bracketed you.
Yeah. Honor roll, AV honor roll, and just perfect attendance.
Or if you want to go and you like, I don't want a letter grade on it, when they start talking about your GPA, when you went to college, there were people who got scholarships and there were people who didn't. Now, the people who didn't get the scholarships, we easily associate the lack of a scholarship in a particular field to a lack of work.
Yeah.
If
you
I
weren't good enough to get that.
I go out here, I'm playing football just like everybody else. However, he got the scholarship. Why? Because they saw him, they saw the work.
Yeah.
When they saw you, you wasn't quite there. Now you can address that and start, maybe I need to do a little more work, and maybe he's blessed. Maybe he in the gym more, maybe he running more plays, maybe he doing more this, that, and the third. And you address those issues to try to put yourself in that running, but you have to recognize that there's a level above the level you at, and you need to, if you wish to be on that level, you're going to have to step your game up to obtain that level.
That's like right now. I used to play football all the time.
Right.
I ain't played football in a long time. Dude, I'm not about to get out there with no pros.
You're not doing
and
it.
Do what?
Be on the injury list?
Yeah, because, man, you're going to demolish me. Even in the pros, the person half my size would demolish me.
But you got to, would you take into account, this is their livelihood. My life is based on me being in top physical peak performance mode at all times. I'm here to, like, a running back, a lineman, a linebacker, a cornerback. Your job is to physically build yourself to a space to where I can run into people, 230, 240-pound male running a 4.3 into another 245-pound male running a 4.3, and we need to be able to hit each other, have a crazy collision, get right back up and do it again.
Yeah.
Full course.
Shake it off.
I don't need that.
I don't either. Like, man, hit me right now. Man, there's like wrestlers. Like, if you look at the wrestlers back in the day, they were in good shape.
Yeah.
Now you look at the wrestlers now, you're like, bruh, you kind of look like the average. Bruh. Like,
but in the past, you know, like if you're looking at Mankind, I'm when I jump off this thing and hit that other table, I really jumped off this thing and hit that other table. Now, we might make it break a little easier, but the pain don't.
Yeah. Mankind.
Like, I did a little, it's a little different, you know what I'm saying? Now, when I watch wrestling, no offense, I mean, outside of it's one where I saw this meme where this guy jumped and did double knees in this man's back, and you literally see his back do this. I was like, y'all wild out there. But when I watch wrestling now, I'm not mystified by it. So I see you pulling the punches, bro. I see you not hitting him full like you making it look that way, and he giving a good act.
You look like a regular dude off the street.
Like a regular
That's why wrestling has went down. But it is what it is.
Right. Outside of that, we come to our time, Young Greatness.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in. If you got any questions, comments you want to leave, do so below. We'll get back to you whenever we can. Most likely we'll get back to you in a reasonable time frame.
Remember, like, subscribe, share. Let people know. Let us know how we're doing, what we could do better.
Give us feedback. Huh?
It always works.
Tell us what you want. And if you want to ask a question and you want us to answer the question online, do that.
Feel free. We're here for you.
I'm here to answer your questions, or at least give you my perspective and his perspective to help you and either let you know that you're not alone or let you know you habitual line stepping and jumping in a lane that you should probably jump your ass on the other side. That being said, this has been another episode.
Y'all be easy.